He harassed my wife and threatened me. He didn't expect this payback. Imagine renting your dream townhouse with your girlfriend. Peaceful neighborhood, nice garage, and a fresh start. But then your neighbor turns out to be the devil in a buzz cut. He bullies you, harasses your girlfriend, blocks your driveway, wrecks your holiday decorations. And that's when you realize sometimes revenge doesn't have to be loud. It can be cold, ice cold. Hi, I'm James. A few years back, I was working on a studio contract that had me relocate for about a year. I found a beautiful townhouse to rent with my girlfriend, now my wife. Cozy place, quiet street, and a garage, which I thought would be a great place to store my tools and park during winter. But as I quickly learned, paradise came with a price. His name? Chad. Chad was the kind of guy you'd picture if someone said, midlife crisis, but make it loud. He was in his mid-30s, super short, probably no more than 5 feet 2 inches, with a buzz cut that didn't hide the fact he was balding. And, of course, he overcompensated. Massive lifted truck, a souped-up Honda Civic that he revved like he was auditioning for Fast and Furious, backyard edition, and a bad temper you could smell before you heard it. The Civic couldn't fit in his garage because it was packed with a weight bench and a half-built motorcycle. And since his truck was way too tall, he just parked in front of everyone else's driveways, including mine. To make matters worse, Chad had a permanent crew of 4 beer-guzzling buddies who hung out at the end of his driveway every day. No exaggeration. Every single day. They'd drink, laugh, and throw empty cans onto my lawn like I was their unpaid cleaning service. But it didn't start like that. Oh no. When we first moved in, Chad pretended to be helpful. He moved his car to let the moving truck pull in and even offered tips about the neighborhood. Then, he brought up the garage. He said, "Hey, the last tenants used to let me park my Civic in their garage during winter. Mine's kind of full. Can we do the same?" At the time, I didn't even have the garage code or keys, so I told him I'd ask the landlord. A few days later, I called the landlord to sort out the garage access and casually mentioned Chad's request. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. Then my landlord said something I'll never forget. "Do not give Chad access to your garage. Don't share the code. Don't hand him a spare key. Nothing." He told me the previous tenants had been robbed just after Christmas, and while there was no hard evidence, he suspected Chad and his buddies were behind it. That's why the locks and code had been changed before we moved in. So, yeah, garage off limits permanently. When I politely declined Chad's request later that week, he exploded. I still remember the moment. I was taking the trash out when Chad asked again if I'd unlocked the garage for him yet. I gave him a calm but firm no. That's when he lost it. His face turned red. He clenched his fists. His friends stood up like they were watching a UFC weigh-in. One of them even had to grab his shoulder and say, "Not worth it, man." After that, things went downhill. Fast. Empty beer cans showed up on my lawn every morning. My girlfriend, who Chad once politely greeted, was now being catcalled when she walked to her car alone. Chad would park his giant truck halfway across my driveway. Loud music blasted from his place at 2 a.m. on weeknights. I reported it several times. But here's the kicker. Another neighbor told me Chad's dad had been a local cop before he passed away, and Chad still got special treatment from the police. Every noise complaint? Ignored. Every report of harassment? Brushed off. I felt powerless. My girlfriend was scared. I started regretting ever moving in. Winter rolled in like a freight train, and suddenly Chad was facing the consequences of his choices. He couldn't park on the street anymore because of snow regulations. The visitor lot across the street? Management denied him access because of multiple complaints. He had nowhere to go. That's when I started noticing something odd. His precious Civic was now covered with a flimsy car tarp, tucked into the very corner of his sloped driveway. He clearly wanted to protect it. But without a garage, it was exposed. Then it happened. Some neighborhood kids must have slashed the tarp and scratched the Civic's paint. Chad snapped, but not at them. No, he blamed me, said it was my fault for not letting him use my garage. And just after New Year's, I woke up to a scene straight out of a holiday horror film. Every single one of my outdoor Christmas decorations ripped down, lights shattered, ornaments crushed, wreaths thrown onto the lawn like garbage. That was it. He'd made it personal. It was time for revenge. Now, here's what you need to know. That week, we were forecasted to have one of the coldest cold snaps in years. Temperatures dipping below zero, pipes freezing. You get the idea. So that night, I had an idea. While Chad was asleep, probably dreaming of monster trucks and hair plugs, I quietly grabbed my garden hose and uncoiled it near the edge of my driveway. Then, from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m., I set an alarm every 30 minutes. Every time it rang, I'd tiptoe outside and spray his Civic. Just a little bit of water, layer by layer, coating every inch of that car. I didn't just spray the roof, I got into the wheel wells, the undercarriage, even the pavement beneath the tires. By sunrise, that car wasn't just frozen, it was sealed to the earth like Excalibur in a block of medieval ice. And then I coiled the hose back up and locked it inside the garage. No evidence, no witnesses, just silence. The next morning was glorious. I opened my blinds, made a cup of coffee, and waited. Then I heard it. "What the fighty? Who did this?" Chad's scream shook the neighborhood. I stepped outside casually, pretending to check the mail. He was losing it. Kicking snow, yelling into the air, waving his arms like a man possessed. His Civic looked like a glacier with wheels. Soon his friends showed up, armed with hammers, salt, even a sawzall. Yes, a power saw. They tried everything to chip it free. But here's the thing about cars frozen to the ground. Unless you know what you're doing, you're just going to destroy the car trying to save it. And that's exactly what happened. They sawed too deep and cut into the tire and fender. Later that week, Chad broke the windshield trying to remove a chunk of ice. And guess what? The police came, and surprise, they did nothing. I didn't say a word. Just watched from my window for the next few days as his Civic slowly thawed under the spring sun. One chunk of ice at a time. Eventually it popped free. Broken, battered, uninsurable. My work contract ended shortly after, and we moved to a new city. Clean slate, peaceful neighborhood. No Chads in sight. But just when I thought the story was over, I got a call from my old landlord. He sounded amused. "Guess what?" he said. "Chad and his buddies just got arrested for robbing a convenience store." Apparently, they didn't realize security cameras exist in 2025. Now they're sitting in jail, probably still trying to figure out who turned his Civic into the Ice Age. So, yeah, I don't always believe in karma, but when you water it just right, it tends to freeze back. Revenge doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be violent. Sometimes the most powerful payback is the one that leaves your enemy out in the cold. Literally. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this ice-cold tale of justice, make sure to like, comment your favorite part, and subscribe for more real stories with real consequences.